But it still goes to voting, so I mean, it's kind of a moot point.
It'll be interesting.
That'll be
the
See what
balance
sees
on
me?
this.
Yeah. So, and it's not on this Saturday. Every town meeting I've gone to on Saturday seems to be not the regular, which seems to me. So all the push they're doing now, you're really, it's just done. So you're just, and whatever side you're on, that's when it's really done.
Yeah, but I mean, the push now is to get to Saturday, and tell me it doesn't happen, or no, I think ballot doesn't come in unless Saturday happens, so you gotta push for that and then push for it.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, I don't think there's any question. You'll hear a lot of.
I didn't think it was gonna, I think I was. But then friends of mine really anxious and start.
Depends on who goes, how many people
Yeah,
go.
so it depends on.
Did everybody go?
If the 28 years, if they actually do a count.
It's like this one.
So that's.
Yeah, I think, because I think
Of the yes.
Yeah, we
I think sometimes in any topic that comes up, the minority, the number can just sometimes happen. Or, you know what I mean? Like it's, I don't think it's always evident.
The thing about fields, dedicated fields.
I can just do it upstairs, but this.
The Beachside family will show up. For sure.
It's gonna be a very emotional.
Yeah.
Discussion,
I feel no hurt.
Should be able to send it to you.
but older people.
Yeah, you just send it to me.
Well, I think
I'll just speak to her. I think, oh yeah, I expect some speakers to it.
I've seen people say, I won't vote for it now. Because of, I don't know where you.
I was trying to explain these showing that these available to somebody, and it's almost tribal Indian.
Got it.
This is the ground that he ran on. I don't care if you're going to rededicate something else. This is ridiculous. And that's not going to resonate with a lot of people.
I didn't, I was in
Resonate
school
with some,
here, and I don't think I lived here then, so I mean, it was,
Yeah.
it's very.
Yeah,
The guy in 72.
that's the thing, I think you can almost draw an age line.
What's going on?
But because the parents of the young children, fourth grader, I wanted to use. But I can understand this.
Karen is gonna log into this meeting from upstairs to see if she can hear us.
Okay.
We were trying to get it. My son was in kindergarten,
There was somebody on the Zoom too.
and you would be shocked.
Yeah, sorry.
The other person that lived in the house.
So. Eric and I was great. You know. Sometimes. It's like one person time getting on, so I just.
It just
Oh, yeah.
signed for this.
I wait for Susan to.
I have to leave in
I
5.
should just go knock on doors together.
But
Yeah, maybe this is a little thing. Write my name.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can, yeah, all right.
Jackie's not here, so everything's.
This one. Jackie's are. She can be both Jackies.
That's a lot of pressure.
I can't do that.
That's
For
a
sure.
lot.
Well, have you seen it yet?
I have, yeah, although sometimes I wonder, my signature's so illegible that I might need to put my name next to it. I think I do.
I was kind of given a hard time about that. Are we being recorded right now?
Yes.
Fine then.
But that's what we'll do.
I know.
She'll work for her seats.
Put my name,
Wait,
legible handwriting next to it, sorry.
Thank you.
My signature is a bit of a,
Well, actually, she did say if they don't have good
yeah.
penmanship, because you see Betsy's.
Very nice and readable.
Betsy's is very
Oh,
nice.
yeah, right, right.
It is very
Nice.
There you go.
My actual name next to it.
That's the age when they did cursor very well.
Signature.
See my mother's cursor.
Is Adam and Paul?
I'll go ahead via Zoom. I hadn't heard anything from Adam. Okay, yeah, not a problem.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, to put it in here.
Yes.
Having three is the most special.
That is. Oh. See it. There's nothing I can do about it. This is the only time we used it, right?
Just see that.
No, I couldn't really see it either. I really.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, you can. I made that mistake last time.
Karen, you can hear us. I think everyone can hear. And Jackie can. Okay, I think we're good.
All right. 6, 7, we have 4. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order 7:04 p.m. Welcome to the Board of Library Trustees meeting, January 25th, 2023.
Oh, good.
So for the agenda, I wanted to take a couple of things out of order. I've heard through the grapevine that First Financial will not be joining us. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, would it be appropriate to move the Finance Committee Liaison Budget Review to the top of the agenda? Okay.
Yeah.
If there's no objections, we will start out with the that item under new business. Right.
And Dan Sherman and Teray Howell are here from the FinCom. And so we're gonna let you go first, Dan, and if you have questions or if you want me to start anything, or how do you want to do it? You're muted.
All right, let's try it again. So why don't you just give us an overall summary? So right now, I don't think I'm going to have any questions, but something might pop up if you would just give us a summary of the 24 budget that you're putting together.
Okay, so this has gone to Kevin Gill and Steve Mayo, and they're satisfied with it. It's a total of 2.8% increase. There are no changes to the personal services. That's the same as last year. The increase is all contractual. No extra hours or anything. It does include Sundays. And then when you look at contractual services, the increases that are in there are mainly due to increases in items that are in that, contractual increases for vendors, things like that. The HVAC will probably increase a little bit, but we took an increase in that last year, and I think that that's going to be enough to cover. So that was not increased, but maintenance and improvements were, because there were some increases in contracts there. The Noble increase for $6,000 includes $4,000 of that increase is in materials, so that helps us meet our certification. And then office supplies, there's an increase because IT peripherals have been moved from capital. Last year, we put in capital that did not get funded, and it was IT peripherals. So we've moved that into the operating budget. And then the library materials, so that's mostly books. We upped that a little bit just to keep it as much of the budget as we possibly can. And that's it. It's not that much different from last year, but I think it will cover us. I think it's enough to do the job.
Great. So I do have a couple questions.
Yeah.
One is, when do the contracts or the majority of the contracts expire? Is it the end of this year, next year?
The majority contract is next year, not the 24 budget, the following year. It will be for the following budget.
So it'd be, they end fiscal year end 24.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And my second question has to do with a building maintenance and improvements. It's about a $2,000 increase, but your expenditures so far are only 12,000. Can you enlighten us on why is there a delay in the contracts? I mean, that's a very large discrepancy for, you know, $12,000 halfway through the year on a $43,000 budget.
Right. That the bulk of that is an elevator issue that has been carried for a little while. It's between $6,000 and $8,000. And they're unable to find the parts, so they haven't been able to do it.
And so any prognosis on when they will be able to do the work?
None at all. They think that the part is, they can get it from Canada. It has something to do with the inspection, and it has something to do with what firefighters need if there's a fire in the building. And it's a new requirement. So there's a lot of libraries, there's a lot of older elevators that are dealing with this problem. So the elevator's okay to use, but they really want this part, and we're just gonna have to wait till they can get it. We thought we would have it by now, but they don't.
Okay. And then I have one question on professional services, the software and support increases, and you mentioned security. So what kind of security improvements are coming forward, or is it just increases in costs on the current security?
It's the current security. It's the gates and the cameras.
Okay. And I think this might be my final question on that segment is on postage. You have a $1,650 budget, spend $352 so far. So do you have a lot of mailings coming up, or is that budget always been, I mean, the actual expenditure in 21 is only $54. Of course, that was because of COVID.
That item is changing a lot because more and more people will use email as opposed to having things mailed. Mostly what we're mailing now are bills when people lose items and they actually have to pay us for those items. We mail those. We also have in the past, and we hope to do it again this year, have sent out postcards to every town, every house in town. And so we sometimes will use the postage for that. But it's been in flux. The rates are going up, but we are managing to mail less. And that's the goal, is to mail less. So I haven't wanted to give up the money because I don't know if I'm going to need it. Sometimes shipping becomes different. We're doing more shipping actually. But you're right that we are spending less.
Okay. And then I think you already answered this, that you've got plenty of room in books and publications to maintain the current certification.
Yes.
You don't need to have a waiver.
Exactly. It's perfect.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, good. That's all the questions I have. I hope I didn't take away any of Teray's thunder, but go ahead, Teray, what have you got?
Thank you. You asked really good questions. I think in both Catherine's narrative in the beginning and Dan's questions, I think resolved most of the questions I would have had. But the only additional thing I wanted to inquire about is the trust fund income, aside at least the version of the budget that I have, it looks like it's determined to be TBD for FY24. So I just don't recall. I'm sure we talked about this in the past, but like at one point in the fiscal year process, would you all have an understanding of how much income is going to be expected to be used from the trust principal?
Kevin just gave you that number. He gets the number
Oh.
from the treasurer. And this year it's $62,285. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's another good year.
Okay, excellent. And is it paid
Is
Is
it
it
what?
paid annually at the close of the calendar year? Is it paid annually at the close of the calendar year, the income from the trust?
Oh, I don't know. I imagine
Okay.
it is because he always seems to tell me in
Yeah,
January or February, so it must go. in
around
a-
this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was my only additional question. Thank you.
Good. I mean, from my perspective, I think it's a very reasonable budget.
Absolutely.
I don't see any red flags. I mean, I think this will sail through. I mean, it's already sailed through Kevin and Steve. And I don't see any issues with the finance committee on this. It's certainly within reasonable, the 2.8% total. I think you guys are good to go.
Thanks very much, Ray. Thank you.
Is there anything else that we should be aware of in terms of looking forward beyond now of the library? I mean, I asked about the contracts, obviously, but is there anything else on the horizon that, I'm a member of the chairman of the forecasting committee, and, we're trying to figure out what's going on 3, 4, 5 years into the future as best we can. So what do you see on the horizon, budget-wise, that we should be aware of?
Mostly, I think it's capital items. So, so we're gonna need a roof. There's gonna be masonry issues. There'll probably be HVAC issues somewhere down. There'll probably be elevator issues. But it's almost all.
It's gonna start with snow, but then it's gonna change over.
So that'll all go to DPW and the capital committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although you did have one item that moved from capital back to your regular budget.
They're getting a foot of snow at the mountain, but then
Where was that?
changed. Tomorrow,
That
Yeah.
was,
between 9 and 12.
a couple of things have moved over the years.
Yeah, there it is. IT peripherals moved from capital to your regular budget.
And that's IT capital, which is different from Joe's capital. The IT capital is the IT for the whole town, Todd Bode.
Yeah, well, he took a fall too. He took a tumbling, and
But you don't see anything more, other than obviously this IT came in this year, but you don't see anything else moving from capital
No,
back to your operating at this point?
I don't think so. I'll talk to some people who work with more of the IT, and I'll look into that. And if I see something significant, I'll let you know. But we do seem to be spending less on IT. It changes a little bit.
going down in the street, and
But the public things, we haven't needed the amount of items that we've had in the past. We've had some cutbacks.
helmet gets scratched up and-
Okay,
and
good,
then
great.
backwards.
Thank you. I mean, that's all I have.
Okay,
Ray, you're good?
Decided not to come here.
Yes, I think I'm all set. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you much. You guys do a great job. Really appreciate it. And have a good rest of the evening. So if you don't mind, I am going to ring off. All
Say,
you.
take
thank
care.
you.
Thanks for the support. Thank you.
right, bye-bye.
That was strange.
I couldn't tell what it was. It's like another.
He was on.
Yeah, like a TV in the background or
Or
something, but he had
something, yeah.
headphones on, so he. Just really hear it.
Oh, that's.
All right.
That concludes the new business. We will circle back to the top of the agenda. Acceptance of secretary's report. I will at some point preference, yes.
Do you want one right now?
I'll take it while we're here.
I move to accept the secretary's report.
Second, please.
Okay, discussion.
Secretary does a fine job.
All right.
You have to speak up enough to. If it's,
That wasn't under the breath comment.
I know.
Not for publication. All right, if there is no discussion, we will, we'll take a vote. Amy,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Chris. Yes. Scott. Yes. Jackie,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
and I am yes, it is unanimous. It is accepted. Acceptance of the monthly staff reports.
Second.
Any discussion?
Trying to find it in here, but I know there was reference to the sign up. How are we doing with the sign up?
Bob Sardello was on vacation, but he said he'd get back to me this week. So he will, so we'll talk this week, I guess. So and I did say, you had a conversation with Tim, so to remind him what it was about, and he didn't, he just said he was on vacation, he called me. So we'll see what we get with that. We're getting close.
So the carpeting was the big event this last time we met. It seems like everything went smoothly and it looks terrific. How did that go?
It went really well. Went really well. You think so, Jackie? No, there were no, everybody did well. We did notice that it shows everything white.
Right,
you know, it's
that's
that-
right, yeah, yeah.
Say,
And the custodians are insane over it because they want to keep vacuuming it.
Yep.
We had to tell them that they can't. The thing is, you can't see the stuff that's dark. So, there's lots of dirt on there, but you don't see that. What you're seeing or it's all anything white. So all that
Salt,
salt
salt,
is there. and-
Right.
They need to start using blue salt.
Yeah.
Are there any issues from patrons? I think you did a good job communicating that it would be closed, that's what services would be available. Were there any patron issues?
Not that I heard of. So we occasionally would see someone at the door, and there was a sign there and you'd see people.
a little face in the window.
Yeah, but no complaints that, people understand, but that's what's gonna happen. But everyone seems to be happy with it.
What's the plan for the rest of the building now in terms of parking? We just did the main floor.
Yeah, and it was, that was coming up, it had no backing anymore, it was really, really bad. So upstairs, anything that's that like teal green swirly, that's back to 1999, that's the oldest carpet. So there's a little bit down here. But it's all in relatively good condition, so it's really not, as soon as I see it start to go, I would start pushing that as capital, because it could take a couple of years to get that money. The gold room and the red room might need to be done. But when I look at it, it's really okay. This room might need to be done. But when you look at it, it's, nobody's tripping, like upstairs, people were
Right.
tripping on that. And
Compared to those other things like roof, HVAC, masonry, carpets.
bottom of the list, yeah, it will be fine. And with the red and the gold room, we want really good carpet because of the kinds of it is, we really want broadloom. So it may even get to the point where we kick in some trust funds for that as well, so we can get a better quality. But I think we've got a while to go. We have to think about that. Definitely the roof for that, probably some masonry. That will, it's funny how things fall apart. I came in and was noticing the flag was at half mast. And I noticed it and I looked at it. And by the end of the day, I looked at it and the whole bottom of it was frayed. It happened during that day. So if you look at it now, it has to be replaced. It's like it's been through I guess it's been through a storm, but the whole bottom of it just totally fell apart. So, yeah, one day I come in and then everything, screen is gone. It's just like at home.
Falls apart,
Yeah.
you need to be here.
And it's attached to everything. Everything's attached to something else too. As soon as something goes, then there's something else that's gonna go to.
Right. Or you've got to catch something to keep something else from going.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's what I feel about the roof.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, I'd rather deal with it sooner than deal with it later.
Exactly.
There's a line about meeting with the patron about donated books that had been weeded. Did that go okay?
Yeah.
Is there a process that we have for all of that?
There is a process and she understood it. And actually I'm friends with her, so it was a nice conversation and I was able to explain how we do it. And she was able to explain why she wanted it. So this was a book that was from 1979. And what's interesting about it is that it's what we are now going to call local core collection. So it's something, it was artwork from somebody at the Cape Ann Museum. And it's a book of process, like how to paint kind of book. And so typically somebody's going to take out a how to paint book. They want it to be color and modern and, you know, they don't want something from 1979. But this is different because the artist is local. So we've tagged it in a new way so it wouldn't get read again. And when I replaced the copy, I ended up with a signed copy. It's from a museum that weeded it. So it all turned out well.
It all works
It
out.
all turned out well. Yeah.
Value of the whole property went up.
Yeah, it did, yeah. And everybody's got what they want, so
Did the DPW come out Monday and Tuesday, or did the storm delay that?
the storm delayed it, I heard from him, and now it's not gonna happen until March.
For them to investigate the plaza?
Yeah. So
For them to what?
they're gonna investigate under the plaza. They're gonna look at what the plaza stairs are all off kilter. And so they're gonna investigate what's under there to figure out what's making them that way, and then they can figure out how to fix them, but they need to know what's underneath it. And we did find the plans of when it was, so the plans of what's under there.
And
It treasures. So it's not hollows, it's a lot of it's hollow, where the stairs are is pretty hollow. And it looks like it's like stonework. Individual stones,
it's like footings
a foot, yeah, like stone footings. On maybe on
and the remains of the 1909 trustees.
maybe, yeah. Yeah, that's.
So much a comment on board, but there's a note in there about the tech school having its first librarian in 20 years. Have they just not been supporting the library there?
Is this?
At the Oak, there was just, there hasn't been a librarian there.
I had no idea, but I guess there hasn't been.
Has there been a library? I mean,
They do have a library. So Alyssa, who's the head of tech services, I think it was yesterday, she spent the whole day over there and loved it. She said she really enjoyed it and they'll have a good program when she's done. And it's nice that she reached out to us, you know, so that we're all working together.
Jackie mentioned in hers about begin planning for the 100th anniversary event in April. Is that Blossoms or is the library doing some big?
It's both. So that's the thing the week before, Jackie.
It's about 2 weeks before. It's the 15th. It's an open house. We're planning for the Saturday. The 15th is the like official anniversary.
They opened on April 14th, 1923. They opened to the public.
So April 15th is a big day here.
So April 15th is a Saturday and we're gonna have an open house. So it will be scavenger hunt.
Right.
Which,
Spring break.
I know, but yeah, there's no, there's never a good. And then Blossoms will then be the final event for the entire thing. So is Blossoms the end of, oh no, that's the week after. Spring break.
It's the week, yeah, so
Yeah, so you get another week, yeah. So if you miss one, you have to be out. It's a special prize for everybody who stays in town.
You didn't go to Disney World, but you get a bookmark.
Any other discussion? Okay, we'll take a vote. Amy,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Chris. Yes. Scott. Yes. Jackie,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. That is unanimously approved. Public participation, we already saw all the public, I think we're gonna see this meeting. Correspondence, I don't recall any in the packet, so.
And unless you include MBLC's message about their legislative agenda.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Or that can be under.
Legislative agenda, yep.
I don't know if you guys read the emails from them, or, I mean, I think everyone gets them, but they have an interesting, I signed up for it, I think it's this week or next week, a Zoom about meeting spaces and like creating policy around meeting spaces. It just sounded interesting based on some of our more recent discussions about like meeting spaces and flag policy and stuff, and it was sort of just talking about how to create that policy.
They're running a whole like legal series, that's
Yeah.
Maura Didi who's doing that. So there's one on the meeting spaces, I think there's one on collection. So collections I'm on top of now. How you collect is interesting to a lot of people who are challenging collections.
All right, let's start with the committee reports, budget. We talked a little bit about our 2024 proposed budget. Anything else we want to discuss?
So I think we're right on track, everything's pretty good.
Yeah, it looked like there were just a couple of items that were running ahead. Now that I think about it, water and sewer is running just a little bit ahead of the year. Is that going to be a problem at the end of the year? It's like 67% versus 57% of that.
No, I think it's going to be okay. The year changed, the way that we paid less last year, and I think we're gonna be paying more this year because of when those bills got sent.
Oh. It's just timing.
It's a timing thing, yeah.
Anything else for budget? Building and grounds, we talked a little bit about the sign. And the roof is a problem until it's replaced.
Until it's replaced.
Anything else?
No, I think everything else is okay right now.
Like, friends, that was me.
Catherine can fact check me if I miss any of this, because my handwriting is hard for even me to transcribe, but high level, yeah, in terms of herd and herd adjacent stuff, the next book drop is next Saturday, so that's the 4th. PR has already gone out for that, so I'm sure you guys already know. The next book sale is May 31st to June 3rd. You guys probably also know about that. Cindy and team are working on efficiencies of the herd. That's kind of an ongoing narrative, but the building continues to suffer. She mentioned that there's dripping in one room, there's paint peeling in one room, so they're actively seeking new locations. Chris knows about that. they're just looking at sort of not any port in the storm just yet, but they're definitely seeking alternatives to the herd long term. So that conversation's ongoing. In terms of finances, the fiscal year has ended for the Friends. They ended at a deficit of 1,900, but my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is that that's just the timing of the fiscal year. They're not worried about that. It's just that they hadn't counted maybe all the donations. They closed the year at negative 1,900, but it didn't sound like that was something they were worried about. They did year over year better in donations by a lot. It was 35K at the end of 2022 versus 10K the year prior. So in terms of individual donations, they did very, very well. From what I heard, I don't recall hearing a lot of numbers around it, but there was some concern long-term about memberships. So individual donations are okay, event donations are okay. They did well with their initial gas and light mailer. Obviously, the book sale in May drives more memberships, but there was talk about figuring out ways to drive more ongoing donations, memberships, loyalty programs, things like that. But otherwise, everything seems to be going pretty well. So biggest concerns are, again, just the facility that they're in right now for book sales, and then just drumming up memberships beyond, donations.
They have more money than they've ever had before.
Yeah.
Did they give you the big annual chunk that you had asked for, or?
Yeah, Adam, and I was just checking, Adam reported, I think at the last meeting, that it was, they presented the library the check for 35,000, so.
Is that earmarked for something specific?
Yes, programs. And then certain expenses that they pay for every year, like they cover the community calendar and things in the document center, there's things there that they do. So that covers, and the museum passes, that covers all that. So they'll donate again for the summer reading program.
Were you talking last time about digitizing the daily item? Is that gonna be part of that or no? Separately?
We're doing that separately, but we'll probably ask the Friends for help with that, Jackie, yeah. Yeah, because that's gonna be an ongoing thing.
Have some losses money for that?
Possibly, yeah, I mean, any place we can get money, because it'll be a long-term project, it's gonna be ongoing. We've sent some to be done, but it's gonna be ongoing, so
Is there
little chunks here and there,
a
whoever.
timeline for doing that, or is it money timeline?
Well, we'll have.
If we gave them a big pile of cash, would they do it 3 months?
Would we do it all the same?
Or
Yeah, probably. How long does it take, Jackie? 3 months it depends on how much we send?
It depends on how much we send. Yeah, it's about, we sent 250 rolls. I think it's about two or 3 months.
so how much history is 250 rolls?
1884 through 1974, I believe.
Wow, it's a lot. Is that half of it?
Yeah.
So,
That is half of the back catalog, yes.
Yeah, that's half of it. But we'll be doing it going forward too, so as they publish it every year, doing that, that will end up in the budget, because we
so
have
that
that,
will end up in the budget. There's
that
no
will end up-
annual expense.
yeah, because we were already doing that on microfilm anyway. So we'll replace that.
Is there any overhead savings to doing it in bulk versus sending them, a year's worth of data at a time?
No, we can do it either.
So even if we just had a couple of nickels, we could get the project started.
We have started.
Or you have started.
We have started, yeah. And if you want to see what it's like, Reading just finished theirs. They did it all, they did everything at once, and it still takes the same amount of time. Jackie said it's 3 months for 250 rolls, whatever. But there's a project got finished, so you can see what it's like. It's like the keyword search is unbelievable. From if you've ever sat with the scrolling thing and tried to read it, and then to just go in with the keywords, it's unbelievable.
When you say digitize, is it any patron can come and just go to a computer and do you pull up a website, or where do you search?
You can do it at home. At least especially for these reels, there might be, depending on restrictions from the publisher, there might be, you might have to do it in the library for newer editions. But all the back old stuff you'll be able to do from home.
Through the library's website, or is it through a third party site?
It's hosted by a third party. It would be linked to on our site.
So what shows up for copy? You getting advertisements, you getting just articles, or you just get the whole?
You get a scan of the whole page as it would have appeared, but it's indexed, so you can search it.
And you can magnify, go in and out. Yeah, nice.
I thought it was a wonderful project, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems almost tailor-made to use plus.
Right, especially 100th anniversary of Lost Money.
And is there gonna be?
I hope so, that's the plan.
Anything else for friends?
I think that's it at a high level.
Great, very good. Thank you very much. Gift funds.
Your funds are now the same as every month
Right.
because you're not getting special information tonight. But if you've had any more questions, and Laura did think of a question, and I didn't really look at the investment policy, so I'll look at that again. But Laura had wondered about socially responsible investing, if that's if that's included in any way. So I can ask First Financial that, and they can address it. I think that they're gonna come in March now.
Great. Yeah, I thought of a question while I'm sitting here. I'll sure to email you so you can send it along.
Yeah.
Other than that, just in general, we have a fair amount of income. Do we have, when it comes time to finally start dipping into it, do we have a list of items that would be appropriate to spend the monthly income on? And we don't want to use the gift fund on like electricity.
Right. I think that we should consider that. I was thinking about that myself. In part, I was thinking about also using some of the book funds, book money to supplement the book budget for particular things that it would be worth doing at this point. But I think we also do want to plan for what we might want to use some of the unrestricted money for. So we can put that on the agenda for next month. And if you have ideas, send them to me and I'll put a little list together and we'll talk about it. Because it has done well. Years ago, Sharon was dealing with trust funds that the town holds. And like this year, it was $62,000 is gonna be offset. Years ago, we would get like $10,000 or $15,000 on all those funds. And they went to Bank of America and said, is this really what the income is? Like, how are we doing this? And what I remember I wasn't involved in any of it, but what I remember about it was Bank of America said, you're being so responsible. It's at the expense, you're saving for your future generation at the expense of your current generation. So you want a little bit of a balance there. And I feel like we're at a point where we can kick in a little bit to the current generation. And because this is healthy.
I agree. Yeah. For what that's worth.
Yeah, I know. Well, me too.
I'm with you.
Anything else for gift funds? Okay. Legislative advocacy, we had a couple of page insert in the packet that I thought was very informative. Includes references to line items that you can talk to your representatives about specifically. Any actions they're recommending that we take at this point? The Mass Board of Library Commissioners.
Not necessarily. They are doing on-site events again this year. One will be at the State House, and I just heard today one is going to be held at Peabody Public Library. The last time we had one of these, it was at Reading. It was a legislative breakfast, and it was at Reading. I think Tim and I went, Jackie went. It's nice when it's local like that, because you don't have to necessarily get into the State House, and all the representatives are there, and there's usually people from MBLC there. And they usually discuss a particular, you know, what they really need for a particular year. So I forget the exact date of that, but she's gonna send it out tomorrow. It's February. It's in February sometime, but it's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's early. But it, you know, that's kind of good. It's the 17th, Friday, the 17th at 8 o'clock at the PBD Library. So Jackie and I will probably go to that. I really liked this year because it's I just like the theme of it. Ensuring your right to read is kind of nice this year because there's a lot of action with banning books.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of a good thing to focus on. And the accessibility for all, that they really want more money to go into Perkins and the Talking Book Library, which is always, that's really well used. And there's lots of people in Wakefield, I think, who could use that.
Yeah, I did like how it underscored how many different avenues that access can take, whether it's cybersecurity or access to ebooks and on and on. Yeah, that was good.
The ebook chat was a wake-up call too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I hear that, but I don't, Jackie orders them, I don't order them, so I don't ever really see those numbers, so I have to deal with that. But
So you
the
have to-
calculations that go into that.
You have to pay for the ebook every 2 years, like it expires, says the license.
Well, they don't all do the exact same thing, which is even more complicated, right? So depending on what you choose, it could be that it's 2 years, it could be that it's 24 circulations, and that could happen, you know, in a shorter period of time and then it's gone. There's all different ways that they play it, and it's all, and the public doesn't understand because it's not even a physical item.
Yeah.
You know, so you buy a digital item and only one person can take it out at a time. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, and nobody understands that. Why are you on hold for an e-copy?
Right.
So it's, yes, that's why we have a buzz table. It's cheaper to buy all the buzz copies and let people have them for a week, and then everybody gets it, than to have to wait for an e-copy. Yeah, I don't know where that's gonna head, but at everybody, at a national level, they're trying to work with that. To change that.
Last item of the committee reports, personnel. Did not see anything particular in the packet for that.
No, we're something at the very end about the 3-year extension.
Oh, yeah, I put that, that's a good time to, yes, this is the last page of my contract. And I added the 3-year extension, so you would have the updated dates. So the appraisal will be January to March 2025. No one would remember that otherwise. So I really kind of did it for me.
Be interested in the position that was posted? Yeah,
Which one? What?
Part-time service.
part-time.
Oh, is there any interest?
Yeah.
It's filled.
Oh, that would be
Yes.
interesting.
Yes, it was nice
Yes, it
interest. Yeah, we're excited. I think that's gonna be a good thing, yeah.
You're still seeing a lot of movement in the industry around here.
Is it a little less or is this still? It's a
It's-
little,
It's a little less. but not, especially with the part-time positions, those are moving a lot.
Yeah, so I was glad, the person who moved to Connecticut, I was glad she said she would stay. Mostly because I didn't want to have to tell Jeff we lost another person. So she's, it's like she does Sundays. It's worth it to come out for that.
It's good, good.
She actually didn't mind the commute. It was that she couldn't, with the hours she had here, she couldn't get other jobs to match it to her, you know, to fit in, yeah. So that was part of it too.
All right, well, that's great, great news. All right, new business has been completed, items not reasonably anticipated by the chair. We walk on items, folks. Oh, okay, the next Friends meeting is February 9th. Susan is primary, Chris is backup. Next meeting for us is February 15th. Is there a motion to adjourn? Second. Okay. Let's go around the horn. Amy?
Yes.
Laura? Yeah. Susan?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, that is unanimous. Thanks, everybody. Have a good month.
You as well. Drive safely, everybody. Yeah, we did it up,
Trustees.
yeah, the trustees, yep.
I will not be here next month. I will not be here at the meeting next month.